Okay, I'm pushing buttons here. Elle Ingalls here, back in one of my offices. Working in a few different places in my house, and so it was a fabulous time giving the retreat on Lake Michigan this weekend, or this past weekend, and now we're back in the saddle, working with a lot of clients. I want to share a couple of client wins right now before we dive into this deep dive. Because they happened. I coached two different clients in the last 24 hours. One was last evening, and a 14-year-old girl, and it's truly incredible how she's broken the stress response, and she's no longer, experiencing so much anxiety. She's done it. She is living pressure free, like each and every day now, which is always the goal when I'm working with a client. But when it happens as quickly as it's happened for her, I mean, it's just really extraordinary. So many of the side effects of the stress response are not happening in her being anymore. It's just really, really beautiful. And then today I was coaching a client in Ontario, 20-year-old college student, and I also coach her mother. I'm bringing that up because it's very, very cool if I'm working with more than one person in a family, because then the two or more family members get to reinforce and help each other. Or if I'm working with a corporate team, so that more than one person is learning pressure free, and they get to help each other when they see scenarios where the stress response is coming into focus, and they can help each other from releasing the stress hormones. So I'm working with this 20-year-old, and we completed the course today, although we're going to do a bonus session, which I wanted to offer her. And she has had, very, very frequent panic attacks, and is having no more panic attacks. 5 straight days in a row of pressure-free living. So for 5 days, she hasn't triggered the stress response. So she's overcoming all of the things that have caused her to be triggering fight or flight. So I just want to celebrate those wins with those two clients, because it is truly life-changing. As I think about how they're going to be as they become young women and move through the years, become mothers, it's just going to be a totally different life than if they hadn't learned the pressure-free method. So as you know, I give a free consultation. You can just go to elleingalls.com. I'll put the website down below here, but elleingalls.com or pressure-free.com. And you'll see a button where you can just click and get right on my calendar. Starting another new client, a young boy whose mother's working with me, very high-level business coach, and now she wants me to work with her son. So again, it's going to be 2 people in the family learning this method, which is really, really exciting. So tonight, we're going to close out this deep dive on performance anxiety. And I want to talk about preparation and also superstition. Preparation, superstition, watching what happens before an event, before any sort of event where you feel like you have to perform, whether that is going on a date, or it is making a meal for a lot of people, or doing something for the holidays, or if you're performing on stage, or performing in athletics, or performing in a meeting, or performing in some sort of public speaking situation. So any sort of performance, also in the bedroom, so any intimate performance, you can use what I'm about to share with you really anywhere. We need to back up a lot of hours, because originally when I was creating the pressure-free method, I was helping people like right when they were going to take the stage, or actually my whole first group of clients were baseball players. So it's like right before you take the mound, or right before you're about to hit. And then what I realized is, because of the way the stress hormones work in our bodies, we need to back up hours, many hours, in some cases an entire day, in order to truly perform at our best. That's because there are 2 different floods of hormones that release, and the entire stress cycle. I think I'm the only person on the planet that talks about it as a cycle. But from when you first release the first cocktail of hormones, that adrenaline phase, until and then you release the glucocorticoids, until you're finally dissipating all of those hormones out of your cells, If you're a biological male, born biological male, it takes up to 9 hours before you are clean from those releases of hormones. You've dissipated the hormones out of your cells and now they're working properly. If you're a female, it's an up to 24-hour cycle. So that for me is the reason for the glass ceiling. I've actually written some posts on that before. Years ago on LinkedIn, I wrote a post on my assessment of why there is a glass ceiling for women in a lot of businesses and a lot of professions, including the one I was in, which was orchestral conducting, is because when we trigger the stress response, our modus operandi, like how we operate from that point forward, is rather hysterical. That's what people call it. I've heard people say, oh, she's so hormonal. I've heard people say that about themselves. I'm so hormonal. What it is stress hormones, not female hormones. It's stress hormones that's causing the glass ceiling. And when you can refrain from triggering those stress hormones, male or female, we have a much more level playing field. We also have so much improved behavior, so much more civility. We're living in a very uncivil society right now, as far as I'm concerned. I think it's extremely painful to watch. Even something like swearing. I saw posts on a group I belong to about, basically giving people permission to swear a lot. I find it highly offensive. And I feel as though really the only reason I would swear, unless it was for some sort of funny effect or something, would be because I've triggered the stress response. And so if you're not triggering the stress response, you don't use inflammatory language. It's a totally different way you think and speak. It's very, very high level. If that's important to you, then I am your coach. If what's important to you is operating on a really high level with all your gifts and talents, really coming to the fore to make this world a better place, then I'm the coach for you. If you want to sit in your sorrow and in your anxiety and swear all day and complain all day, if you want to get out of that, I'm your coach. But if you want to stay in that, I'm not your coach. Because misery demands company, and I'm not interested in that anymore. What I'm interested in is helping you up level, helping you get out of that mess of stress, because you deserve to have a beautiful life. I truly believe that. And that mess of stress is harming you in so many ways. So I've touched on a few of those over these nights. But let's get to this idea of performance anxiety and backing up the hours to figure out, okay, what do you need to do so that when you get to your event, you are full functioning, you are optimal. I don't even talk about positive mindset anymore. I talk about optimal mindset, in the zone, in the flow feeling. Because sometimes we're working on things that are very serious. We might not exactly feel happy. We're serious and we're in that zone. That's for me when I'm playing a serious piece of music as a violinist. That's how I feel. I feel totally in the zone and totally in it, but I'm serious about it. So I think that sometimes people think like I'm failing because I'm not happy, but maybe what you do is serious. And so I like to talk about optimal mindset. So let's back up to 24 hours, because we have to include all females and males, 24 hours before your event. That is the time to begin to notice. I like to notice all day long, every single day, because my intention is to live pressure-free each and every day. But if you've got a big event coming up, to be optimal, back up 24 hours and start to really deeply be aware. Be aware of any emotion, any tension in your body, like your shoulders are going up, your abs are tightening. Maybe you're starting to grind your teeth or clench your jaw. Is your face coming this way? Those are all signs. Are you biting your nails? You're coming here for comfort. Are you jiggling your leg? Like, is something tightening, either mentally or physically? So these emotions, feeling angry or annoyed, which fall in a continuum, by the way, go deep into that when I coach. Anxious or afraid, and anytime you feel ashamed, those are emotions, and anyone like them, like frustration, worry, nervousness, aggressiveness, any sort of emotion that's going to get your heart rate charged up. That's what you need to be aware of and on the lookout for. Anytime you start to feel one of those emotions, that is the time to use a pressure-free tool. And you have about 10 seconds before that amygdala in your brain can tell your heart rate to charge up and tell the adrenal glands to release that flood of hormones. 10 seconds is plenty of time. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. I'm not going to wait till 10. It's plenty of time to smile. It's plenty of time to relax your abs. It's plenty of time to lift your ribs and go into a beautiful open posture. It's plenty of time to push the Ferris wheel, which is a very silly tool, but it's silly on purpose. In fact, today, one of my tools is the double yellow line, and I think I will share that one tonight with you. My client was saying that her mother, this is the mother and daughter that are both taking the course, her mother will go, double yellow line, double yellow line. So she's using emotion. And if you've heard me speak before, you know that when you use a big motion that's unusual, like the Ferris wheel, like this double yellow line, when you use these motions, it opens up your neural pathways very quickly, and you can change a habit very quickly. So if your intention is to change a habit quickly, use a big motion with your arms, your legs, your body, something that is unusual. If you go around like this all day, you got to choose something else. If you don't like Ferris wheels, do a 3-point shot. So whatever it is you want to shake up, you have 10 seconds from the moment you feel that tension to prevent the release of hormones. That is incredible. Very few people talk about this, by the way. They say, oh, you need 10 minutes of meditation. No, you don't. You don't. You just need to work in this 10 seconds. Meditation is a lovely thing to do if it's right for you. It is not right for everyone. Some people go into some serious darkness if they're not guided properly. It's not for everyone. Some people really need prayer, a guided prayer. A prayer is different because you've got words in there that you're very specifically thinking about versus meditation that can go in some different directions. There's a lot of people that don't understand all this. I actually was meditating, and I think I almost was going to die, actually, because I didn't understand that I wasn't grounding enough and I wasn't being guided properly. So, you gotta make sure that you're finding the right teachers and finding the right people to take you on the path. So for me, I go straight to that 10 seconds. I go straight to the science of fight or flight. That is my expertise. And I've studied it for years, decades in some cases. And in 2010, when it all came together and I created the pressure-free method, I knew I was onto something when people started to say, wow, this is happening for me. I don't have test anxiety anymore. I don't have panic attacks anymore. I'm able to deal with my roommates and everything is cool. I can actually hear my husband or wife speak now. Because now you can hear, now you can see, now everything is working for you. That's what pressure-free is about. So in that 10-second interval or 10-second space from when you first feel the tension so that you don't allow your heart rate to charge up, you get to do all sorts of things. Sometimes I use 3 or 4 tools to interrupt the stress response depending on what's happening to me. But maybe one tool will be effective. Large body motion, smile, keep those neuropeptides going. There's relaxing the abs is huge again because it tells your brain that you're safe. So with the relaxing and opening of the whole front of your body, that can really, really help you settle. But tonight, what I really want to focus on is a tool called the double yellow line. And the double yellow line, it's a tool I learned from actually our chiropractor that I was working with our children and my husband and I. He had a friend, actually a mentor, Ben Lerner down in Florida, who wrote a book called Maximize Living. So I got a copy of the book, and in the back of the book was just a little bit of a little snippet about imagining a double yellow line to help you stay present. I think that's what it was about. I don't even remember now because I've kind of morphed the double yellow line to do a lot of things. But when you're going down the road and you see a double yellow line, what does that mean? Don't pass, right? It means don't pass. So when you see that double yellow line, you know to stay in your lane. So what I have my clients do is use their pressure-free planner. I don't have mine with me right It's in the other room. Use their pressure-free planner and imagine sets of double yellow lines between each activity and time block of their day. So let's say they have a 1-hour meeting with Tom. Imagine that there's 2 sets of double yellow lines around that meeting with Tom. And the whole time you are with Tom, you are just in that meeting. You're completely in the meeting. If your mind starts to wander about something you're going to be doing in the evening, you come back in. Double yellow lines, boom, I'm going to stay right in my lane. If you start worrying about something you said earlier in the day, double yellow lines, no, I'm just here with Tom right now. I started to do this years ago with my violin teaching. I would imagine these double yellow lines coming down. So when my student is with me or when my client in pressure free is with me, nothing else is going on. Nothing else is going on. I'm completely in. You can do it with your personal things too. I remember coaching a client who said for the first time in about 20 years, he actually had dinner with his wife. He ate dinner with her every night, but he was not present. He owns a large company and he was always thinking about his company. And so when we put the double yellow line down around dinner time with his wife, he said, yeah, I actually heard her. I witnessed her. I saw her. And I had a lovely time and I actually tasted the food. So what are you missing out on? Because you're pulled into the future and you're back in the present. You're like stuck in all this stuff. What's really happening for you? And how can we change that up? Double yellow line is one of the fastest ways I know. I want to share a couple of other ways that clients of mine have developed using the double yellow line. And if you want a handout for this, I would be happy to share it for free for you. Just go ahead and send me a private message with your email, and I'll go ahead and send it out to you. So double yellow line. One of my clients was an incredible athlete and wanted to go to the Olympics. So they painted the Olympic rings on their wall with 2 sets of double yellow lines. In the center of the double yellow lines are all the things, all the tasks and strategies that can help this person get to the Olympics. Outside of the double yellow lines was everything that would take them away from that. So what goal do you have? What dream do you have? Go ahead and in my pressure-free planner, actually this handout I'm going to give you, I have a worksheet where you can list your target, your goal, your dream, your vision, and then 2 sets of double yellow lines, and you get to put inside them all the things that will help you get there. And then you can prioritize, order them, put a timeline to them, actually create a goal sheet, which exists in the back of the pressure-free planner, by the way, so you can work on your goals for each quarter. So doing that, it's a great visual, but it also is a little bit rigid. So one of my sons, my eldest, who loves the double yellow line, he imagines like swimming lanes in a pool, like the ropes, how they have a little bit of give to them. So he can kind of go outside the lines a little bit so that he's not quite so rigid. Do you have a problem? Are you a perfectionist? Are you hard on yourself? I certainly am. And so getting a little bit outside the lines is actually a very helpful thing sometimes. So you can play with that concept. Then more recently, when was it? Last year, 2022, I had a client who was the son of one of my clients. So a woman I had worked with a few years before, she messaged me and said, my son has been thrown under the bus by COVID. He's missing 56 assignments. That's a lot. And he had 6 weeks left in the term to turn around his grades. He was failing everything. So we got together and we started working. And of course, I just straight up taught him pressure free. I didn't really talk a whole lot about school with him. I just really focused on getting him to not trigger the stress response, because now when you're behind, have you ever just felt so horrible when you're behind and you're triggering all the time? So that's what I wanted him to get out of that looping of triggering. So we get to the last coaching session together, and we're on camera here like this because he lived in Utah. I'm in Michigan. And we're on the camera, and he goes on camera with a huge smile on his face. I go, oh, what's that about? And he goes, well, I passed all my classes, which was fantastic. Now, he didn't complete all 56 assignments. That was a little too much to ask, but I empowered him to work with his teachers to work out a plan to make sure he could do it. But here's what he said to me. He goes, I've come up with a really cool way to use the double yellow line. So I said, oh, will you share it with me? And he started to describe it, but then I asked him to draw it for me. And in the handout that I have for you, if you want to message me, I'll send it out to you. This is what he did. I don't use a circle, but he did. He said, I take a piece of paper and I draw a circle and I split the double yellow line goes down the middle. On one side are my homework assignments and chores for the day. And on the other side is the fun I want to have. So I want to go to the rec center. I want to play with my friend. I want to do this video game. So he's got his fun on the other side. So I asked him, I go, how much time are you spending on either one of these halves? And he said, well, it's 60-40. I go, oh, so 60% homework and chores. He goes, no, that's 40%. And 60% he gets to have fun every day. I'm like, wow, that's incredible. And he goes, yeah, it's really incredible because before Pressure Free, it was 95%, 5%, 95% chores and homework because he spent a ton of time arguing with his parents about his chores. And now that was all gone. He just came home, drew the circle. This is what I need to do. This is what I get to do. And it was just a brilliant system. And adults can use it too. But when I was coaching at the retreat this weekend, they're like, oh, we want that. What's our fun? I have a coach that I worked with for 18 months, Shanda Sumter. And in December of 2021, she had a couple suggestions, which I actually took to heart and did. One of the suggestions was plan your fun for 2022. I don't plan my fun. I plan my serious business. And so I had to really think like, what am I going to do for fun? So instead of just spending a few days in New York City for our son's graduation from Columbia, where he was salutatorian, by the way, so it was going to be amazing. I decided to book lots of days. And we actually spent more time in Brooklyn to watch him run the half marathon with his friend in their gowns, their Columbia gowns. It was great fun. In fact, they announced it over the loudspeaker as they came across the finish line. A couple of Columbia grads in their gowns. It was so great. So we had an incredible time in New York because I planned our fun, got the hotel rooms, got everything all set up so we could just have the greatest time together. I also planned time in New Hampshire. It ended up being even more time because a cousin of mine passed away. And so I planned time there where I got to see friends and relatives. And then I planned a thing was work and friends and family too in Connecticut, New York. So I was just doing things I hadn't done before, like really planning some fun in there. And I also did spontaneous fun. So for example, let's see, that was December that I was working on that. I think it was over the holidays. Yeah, it must have been like right during the holidays. My youngest son says, oh, well, I'm going to run Houston Marathon next month. Do you want to come with me, Mother? I'm like, okay. So we planned a little extra fun. We were flying Delta out of Detroit early in the morning. I go, why don't we drive over and stay overnight in the hotel? Like it's super easy to get right on the plane the next day because the hotel is at the Delta terminal. So we did that. It was so much fun. We had a blast in Houston. It was just so cool. And then the next month, it wasn't the very next month, I think he was running Miami. And so my husband, I had to really pull him along. I'm like, come with me. I'm going to Miami. I'm going to go see my sister. I'm going to surprise her. Right. And come with me. And so he did. We had the greatest time. We spent time with William's roommates' parents who are, they live in Miami. And so we went to their house and they threw a huge Cuban barbecue for us. Like we just had a total blast. So plan your fun. And this young man was planning his fun daily. Like, what is the fun thing he wants to do? Got some lawn mowing going on outside, but I'll try to finish up here. So because sounds are a trigger for me. If you know me, that is definitely a case. I think it's because as a trained musician, I'm just so alert all the time to sounds. And so if I hear like leaf blowing or lawn mowing, it definitely can take me out of my game. So I have to watch out for sounds, and maybe you do too. That gets to the last thing I'm going to teach you tonight. And that's a lot of us have little superstitions, like knock on wood. I had a conductor I worked with who would knock on wood like 3 times before he would go out on the stage. Sorry to let that one slip. um, but people have all kinds of little superstitions and little things. I had a client who didn't make a particular hockey team, and they blamed the fact that they forgot to bring their best stick. They had their backup stick. For some reason, the good stick didn't get in the car. So they were blaming the stick. And it brought me back to when I was working with the great violinist Jacob Kropmalnik. He was one of my teachers. He had been the concertmaster of San Francisco Orchestra. I think he was concertmaster of Concertgebouw as well. Just a fabulous musician at the University of Michigan. And a lot of my colleagues, they were basically taking out loans the size of house payments, house loans, to buy instruments. And my teacher said, I don't care what kind of box you bring in here, I'm going to teach you how to play it. I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep my little box then. I'm not going to get a new one. So the same thing with the hockey stick. Shouldn't matter. Like you get to, if you forget your best shoes, you forget your best equipment, you can still do it. You can absolutely still do it, because this is far more powerful than anything physically going on. One of my clients had a like almost a panic that their shoes would come untied, and was always late to tying them, actually. So we worked on that together. And one of the phrases that I use with my clients is assume success. So if we back up the day before any sort of event, one of the slogans, which is a pressure-free tool, you can start to put in your head is, I'm assuming success. And the moment you say it, you can also say, I'm open to success, because that's going to open your chest, open your heart, and help you prevent triggering the fight or flight stress response. So you're open to success. You're assuming success for yourself. So you can come up with all kinds of little slogans to put into your head that work for you. But that one is a really powerful one. So again, you're on the lookout a whole time before. And if you do have some superstitions, see if you can start to soften them a little bit. See if you can do whatever you need to do without doing anything very special or different. Like you have to have a special meal, or I saw someone about marathon training saying, be able to eat and run. That caught my feed the other day. I get all this marathon stuff because my son runs marathons. Somehow they think I do, I guess, but no. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that a lot of musicians do not eat before performance. And I remember being backstage for conducting, several of us conducting, students were conducting on the same program at Michigan. And I was like totally chilling and like, wow, you're so calm. And one guy goes, I haven't eaten all day. And I'm like, oh my God, I just had a huge chili meal. But I don't feel any weird stomach thing or anything. And now that I look back, I just didn't trigger fight or flight before performances. It wasn't a deal for me, except for that one time that I did, which I mentioned two nights ago. So I hope this series has been helpful to you. You know that I'm here for you. If you want to learn more, just go to elleingles.com. Read some of those testimonials that people have written about me, have done videos on about me. You'll see there's a student page too. I mentioned tonight that I work with students as well. Middle school, as young as 10. They're usually uber academicians or athletes or musicians or performing artists. But middle school all the way to age 80. So an old dog can learn new tricks. You deserve to live a beautiful life. And I'm so glad you participated in this deep dive. Please take the next step, book a call with me. It's one thing to learn with me on all these little free videos. It's a totally different deal when we get to dig into you. I get to listen to you, and I get to craft pressure-free, like I have for the 2 women I mentioned earlier tonight, or the girl and the woman that I mentioned earlier tonight. So wish you a great pressure-free day and night, whatever time it is for you. And I'll be doing more lives, but this is the end of my 6 days of deep dive on performance anxiety. Have a good one. Bye.